Hi you guys, my name is Cyan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can tell by the title, today I'm doing a 24-hour readathon. These are some of my favorite videos to film because I just feel like they're so much fun. You get so much reading done, and I've been in a slump recently, but I feel like I'm out of it, so I think it's good to just sit down and read a lot of books. That actually might not be a good tip if you're slumping, but I'm doing it anyways. We are also doing a 24-hour readathon over on my Discord, and I think it's just fun. It's fun to do it along with you guys. I am going to be splitting it up in 2 days, so 12 hours today and 12 hours tomorrow. I have 6 books on my TBR. Hear me out. I definitely don't expect me to get through all of these, but I am in the middle of 3 of them, so maybe I could, maybe not. I don't know. I like to have options, you know? So let's quickly run through those. The first one you guys probably saw in my last video. I don't know why, but if I don't finish a book in a video, I will forget about it. Because after that video is posted, I try to go right into filming another reading vlog for you guys, which I haven't done because I'm in a slump. But the book that I put down was Foxglove by Adalyn Grace, and I just have not picked it back up. Maybe like once I did, so I have gotten a little bit further than I think I did in that video. I am on part 3, which is page 359, so I only have like that much left to finish, which shouldn't take long at all. I do like this book. I just, for some reason, haven't picked it up. So we're gonna get into this. Another book that I'm currently already in the middle of, not even the middle of, but I've started, is Daisy Haites, The Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. It is the second Daisy Haites book, and for some reason, I just never picked it back up, so I decided to try again. I have only made it on to page 78. So far, I'm enjoying it. I was a little bit confused because I completely forgot what happened in the other books, but it kind of summed it up in a good way, so I think I'm at the point where I'm catching on to what's actually happening. So this is another one that I have already started. This is my book club pick for the Discord group. We have a different book on Fable because there was a tie, but I do want to get to this one, One Dark Window. I've just heard so many great things about it, and I haven't been in a huge fantasy mood, but it's our book club pick, so I definitely want to try and get to this one as well today. And then some other options that I have is Heartless by Elsie Silver. Once again, everyone has been influencing me in the Discord because people are talking about starting this series. I've already read and finished it, but I love it so much. Heartless and Reckless are my 2 favorite from that series, so I want to reread it. Also, if I'm starting to feel slumpy during this readathon, I feel like going to something that you know you already love might kind of help out a little bit. So that's why this one is in here. And then this one, I don't know, because I feel like you have to take your time with this author's books. You have to really be in the mood, and I'm not that they require a lot of brain power, but like they make you think a lot. So I don't know if this one will be read in this video, but still, I wanted the option there for me. The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. Love this author so much. Want to read more of her. So yeah, once again, I don't know. It's a big book. A lot happens in these. They make you cry. So I don't know if I'll be in the mood during this video, but we will have to see. So those are all the options. I'll see you guys once I start reading, and I'll let you know what we pick first. Actually, I already know what I'm going to pick first, so let's just talk about it. The first book I'm going to start with is Home Before Dark because, like I said, I'm already in the middle of it, and I am actually really enjoying it so far. In this book, we are following a woman named Maggie. She is a home renovator, and when she was younger, her and her parents lived in a haunted house for like maybe 20 days or something like that, but they ended up moving out, and her father wrote a best-selling book about everything that happened to them within their time period at this home. It is now 25 years later. Her father passes away, and she knows that she has inherited this home. She also does not believe her father's story whatsoever. She thinks it's a complete hoax because she has no memories of anything that he wrote about in his book happening at this home. So while she's there, she's kind of like going to unravel the mystery of, was my father's book true and I just don't remember, or was it all a hoax like I think it is? And all of these weird things keep happening while she's there, like she sees someone outside the window, you know, all these things. It's a haunted mansion. That's the vibes that we're going with in this one. I actually really like it too because in between every chapter, you're getting Maggie's point of view in the present time, but you're also getting her father's point of view. And I believe it's meant to be like his book, what he wrote in the book and what happened at the house. Does that make sense? So like this page, May 20th, the tour, we're seeing his point of view as he toured the home. So it's cool to get 2 point of views and everything like that. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of liking it. Riley Sager and I have a love-hate relationship. Some of his books I really love, some of them you know? So yeah, so far so good though. I'm thinking this one might be on the list of the Riley Sager books that I do enjoy, so this is what we're going to start with. Okay, so it's been a little bit over 2.5 hours and I did just finish Home Before Dark. I really enjoyed this story. I feel like it was super interesting. I didn't get bored at all. It was very fast paced. The dynamic between getting her point of view in the present time and her father's in the past was very interesting. Of course, there were multiple plot twists. I actually didn't see one of them coming, although I feel like other people might be able to easily guess it. It just... Okay, my dog's just pulling the entire blanket off of me. It's just, if I'm being honest, when I was reading this book, I wasn't thinking too much about it. I wasn't trying to guess the plot twist like I do sometimes when I read thrillers. I was just reading it purely for the spooky vibes, and it is so much fun. I think, though, I might give it like a 4-star. I definitely think it's up there with some of my favorite Riley Sager books. I would probably say, I mean, if I just had to, I feel like I've only not read 2 of them maybe, so if I had to rank the ones that I did read, I would say definitely number 1 is The Only One Left, then it would be Final Girls, then this one. I think those are like my top 3, and then below that might be The House Across the Lake. I really liked that one until the ending. If you know, you know. But anyways, this story was really good. I highly recommend it. Maybe not for like a huge plot twist, but just for a haunting kind of like ghostly spooky vibe, I guess. But yeah, I enjoyed it, so that is that one. Now that I'm going to finish up reading Foxglove, I really love this story so far. I just haven't been in the mood for it, but I really want to finish it. I literally only have like maybe what 10-15% of the book left, so it shouldn't take me long, and it's another book I can check off my list of finally finishing, so this is what I'm gonna go for next. Okay, so we now have 8 hours and 17 minutes left. It's only been about 3 hours, but I managed to finish my second book. Was I already mostly through it? Yes, but a win is a win. Anyways, let's talk about my final thoughts of Foxglove. I feel like I can't really talk much about this one without talking about the first book. I also know that I've mentioned Belladonna in many videos, but in that book we are following Signa, and basically everyone in her life ends up dying. In that book there is a mystery that she helps solve with the help of Death, because she can see ghosts and spirits once they die. She can also see death. Death kind of helps her solve this mystery because her cousin Blythe, who she really loves, is being poisoned. So she solves that mystery. At the very end of that book, someone else dies, and then going forward into this book, you're just solving another mystery, but there's a new character involved, and you're also getting a new point of view from her cousin Blythe in this one. And the way it ended, I just know the third book is going to be more about Blythe. And honestly, in the third book, I am interested to learn a lot more about Blythe. I really like her as a character. I do not think this one is better than the first one, just because the first one was such a new premise to me as a reader. I do feel like I read it a while ago, and it was unlike anything I ever read. I believe it was a 5-star because it's just so good. It takes place in a Victorian era, so there are like balls and courting going on. There's also a murder mystery, and there's a little bit of a fantasy element to it, and it was so good at the time that I read it. I don't know how it would feel if I reread it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it in my head that it's as good as I thought originally, you know? But this one was definitely not better because I feel like I just wanted a little bit more from it, but it was still really good. I enjoyed my time, and it read very fast and easy, so I think I'm also going to give it a 4-star. I think that sits right with me. It's sitting at a 4-star, so that is that. I think next I'm going to read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is my book club pick of the month. As I've mentioned, I promise eventually I'll stop bringing that up in every single video, but not now. Anyways, this is my book club pick of the month. I really want to read it. I think nothing. There are no thoughts going on in my brain because I don't know anything about this book. I just feel like There's like smoke or fog or whatnot on the cover, and I feel like a lot of people mention that. I'm assuming that the magic is different. I also feel like I hear people say that there is a romance, but not really until the second book. So if you want a fantasy romance that is heavy on the romance side, it's not gonna be this. I feel like I've heard people say it is definitely more about the world and the politics and stuff. Do I feel in the mood for that? I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's the beauty about reading, is that if I start reading it and I don't like it, I can put the book down. So let's give it a shot. So here's the thing, we are now at 4 hours, but at the same time, it is 10 p.m. I started this challenge around 10 a.m. and I thought, 12 hours would be 10 p.m. Why is it 10 p.m. and I still have 4 hours left? You're telling me that every time I stopped to do TikToks for this video, to walk my dogs, and to use the bathroom, that combined totaled 4 hours? With that being said, I will not be reading 12 hours today because that means I would end at 2 a.m. and I'm already sleepy, okay? I should be in bed right now. I would literally rather walk across hot concrete in the middle of July than to keep reading, especially because I'm over 50% of the way through One Dark Window and I'm still a little bit confused. Let me try to explain it to you. From what I have gathered, and I could be wrong, we're following Elspeth. She lives in this world where there is a mist, and the mist can affect people and infect them, which gives you magic. And whenever you are infected, so you have magic, you also have something called a degeneration, which is like the negative side effects of you having magic. So with all magic, there is a price. And basically, like, some people go mad, some people start to get violent, stuff like that. And Elspeth, she was infected when she was really little. She has a voice in her head called the Nightmare, which also like gives her a special power whenever she needs it. There are also these like magical cards, which in my mind, they're just like tarot cards basically. Like there's the scythe card and everything. And there seems to be a lot of them with different powers attached to them as well. And that's where I'm getting confused mostly, is with the cards. I also don't understand how the mist infects people, because there'll be instances where like they're at a ball or something and she talks about looking and seeing the mist. So why is it infecting some people and not others? I don't know. It's very confusing, but there's also a king in here who I guess tries to get rid of people who are infected. And there's like a collection of cards. You have to collect all of them. The king is going to use it for something bad, but Elspeth partners up with like a rebellion almost, or a resistance if you will. And the leader of that is actually the king's nephew. It's like they're partnering up together to try and find the cards before the king does, because it can also be used to cure this infection, allegedly. That's what my mind is telling me is happening in here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused. Her and Rain are now like at the castle or whatever, and to keep everyone from being suspicious of them so that they can keep communicating about what's going on, he is pretending to court her, and that's all I got for you. I don't even know if that's correct, but my mind's telling me it could be, possibly. I don't know. You tell me if you've read this book. Is that correct? I don't know. But anyways, I'm not really loving it. Like, it's not bad at all. I'm not bored per se. But at the same time, I think that I am just someone who prefers a lot to be going on in a book physically. In this book, I feel like there's a lot of plotting, scheming, world building, and a lot more dialogue than I would like. I would rather be shown more action in a book, and it's just not giving that to me. I also feel like the banter is not really my cup of tea. Like, they have a little bit of banter, but they're a little bit more of like serious characters. So the banter isn't doing it for me at all either. I don't know. It's just not my favorite, but like, it's not bad. I also feel like potentially it could be the type of book where it's not enough for you to sit and read in one sitting. Maybe if you were to break it up, it would be better. But reading it in one sitting, it's just not gonna hold my attention personally all that well. So that's why I'm struggling with it. That's it from me. I have decided, did I already say this? I mean, you all know I'm not reading for 12 hours today, but I'm just going to extend this. So Today I read for 8 hours, tomorrow I will read for 8 hours, and then Sunday I will read for 8 hours. So instead of 2 days, we're doing 3. I think that will be better, especially because I didn't anticipate how long this would take. Normally when I do 24-hour readathons where I split it up into 2 days, I'm literally reading and then I stop for a few minutes to update you guys, and that's about it. But now I have been filming TikToks and editing and uploading them, and I don't know, I just feel like it took up a lot of my time, so that's why we're extending it. That's it from me tonight. I'm going to go relax and watch true crime because for some reason watching stuff about murders helps me fall asleep. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everybody. It is the next day, and where I left you guys last night, I was a good chunk through One Dark Window. Now I'm gonna be honest, I'm going to not continue reading this just for the moment though, because it's definitely not a DNF. I do want to get back into it. It's just a PTS. Put to the side, okay? I'm not in the mood to read this. While I'm reading it, my mind is everywhere else. It honestly kind of feels like a fever dream because I swear to you, I read the pages, but I wasn't understanding them and grasping them. I don't know if it's because I wasn't in the mood for it or I was a little bit confused or the pressure from me trying to read really fast, but I was reading the pages and not fully understanding them, so I think I'm gonna have to reread a good chunk of this at some point. But for now, we're gonna put it to the side and we're gonna move on because reading is supposed to be fun and you need to read books that you actually want to read, and right now I'm in the mood for a thriller. I actually don't have that many physically. I tend not to buy that many because they're not books that I'm gonna reread. Even though my memory is very awful for some reason, plot twists in a thriller I will remember for eternity, so I can never reread them because I already know what's gonna happen and I just can't do it. So I tend not to buy physical copies, but I do have more Riley Sager, oddly enough, and the one that I have is Survive the Night. This one and his newest release I think are the only two I haven't read. I haven't heard the greatest things about this book, but I'm still interested because it takes place in the early 90s, and I'm telling you, I wish I could have been like a 21-year-old in the early 90s. That would have been so much fun. Imagine Nirvana just now coming out. Yeah, this is what I want to read, so I'm gonna read it. Let's get into it. We have 8 hours, and that's really it. It's only been like 2 hours. I still have 6 hours left on the timer, but I'm flying through this book. Well, I couldn't tell you what chapter because there's not regular numbers, but I am on page 172. This book reads so fast and easy. It's about a girl, Charlie, who she is in college and her best friend ends up getting murdered while hitchhiking. It's the early 90s, so hitchhiking's a big thing at the time, and for some reason Charlie, she decides that she can't deal with this. She wants to leave college and go back home, and she needs to hitchhike in order to get there, which honestly, it's kind of like, girl, why would you do that if your best friend died that way? I don't know, wouldn't be my first choice, but she is hitchhiking with a guy that she just met named Josh, and she's very suspicious of him. He kind of just comes off as serial killer. And this whole book, we're just following them along while they're making this long journey. I think it's like a 6-hour drive. It's starting to get dark outside. They make a couple of stops at a rest stop. Right now where I'm at, they're at a diner. And also along the car ride, you just kind of get little things that he says that makes him very suspicious. So like, it's making me a little bit anxious of what's gonna happen, especially because I feel like she's already had multiple opportunities to escape, but she hasn't. So I don't know. I mean, most mystery/thrillers, the main characters end up surviving, so I've got a feeling something's gonna happen with her where she will survive, but I just don't know what direction it's gonna go in. But I'm enjoying it, even though a lot of people don't like it because it's just taking place over the period of one night, mostly in a car setting. I'm liking it. It's giving me exactly what I wanted, and that's that. I guess I'm just gonna keep reading now and finish this up, and we'll see if the plot twist is good, because a plot twist can seriously make or break any mystery thriller. Hello, hello, hello. I just finished reading Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This book literally goes in a completely different direction than I thought it was going to. Like I have mentioned, people say that it can get a little bit boring because most of it takes place in the car. It's all happening in one night. But I'm telling you, the last like 30%. It was plot twist after plot twist after plot twist that I did not see coming. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know, I feel like the other book that I read during this, what was that one called? I literally just read it. What is it called? Yes, Home Before Dark. That one, most of the story was very interesting, and then the plot twist at the end felt very underwhelming. But in this one, it was the opposite, where it was kind of underwhelming for the first half or so of the book, but then the plot twists were just like, wow, okay, does that make sense? And honestly, out of both of them, I enjoyed them both equally, the same amount. They were both really good in my opinion. I think they're both sitting at like a 4-star, so I would recommend them. But now I'm going to start my next book, and I actually picked something that wasn't on my TBR at the beginning of this video, but you know, stuff happens. And the one I'm going to read is Still King by Devney Perry. I did start the Eden series. I read the first 2 books in that series. You don't have to read them together or anything. They're 2 completely different series. But anyways, I really like the Edens just for like a fun, fast book where I don't have to think too much. I can just have a good time while reading it. And I feel like this also is going to give me those same vibes. They're also in small towns in Montana, and for some reason they always feel like fall books to me. So I want to start this one. All I really know about it is I believe it's like a motorcycle gang type of situation, and also the main love interest, his name is Dash, so the whole time I might potentially just be imagining my dog, his head on like a human body, which could be weird, but I'm gonna try not to do that. But now that the thought is in my head, it's implanted, so I feel like I am gonna constantly imagine that, you know? Anyways, let's give it a shot and keep reading. Okay, it's a good bit later, and I have made it 50% of the way through Still King. In this book, we are following Bryce and Dash. Bryce is a reporter. She moved from Seattle to this town in Montana, and her father and her bought like a newspaper. So she's now going to go from like reporting on the news to writing the paper. Dash and his family, they were like widely known for being part of a motorcycle club that did some nefarious activities, you know. But now that entire club has been dismantled, and they are trying to basically stay under the radar, do only legal activities from now on. And they open up like a garage where they do oil changes, work on cars and stuff like that, instead of resorting to a life of crime. But as it turns out, Dash's father is actually accused of murdering a woman. Bryce is reporting on it, and she's also kind of like investigating it herself, which seems dangerous, but I guess reporters do that. And while she's reporting it, her and Dash, they meet for the first time. They have like an enemies to lovers thing going on in the beginning, right? Because she's reporting on the fact that his father murdered this girl, but he swears that his dad is innocent. So they're clashing heads. He doesn't want her to report on it anymore, but she's very strong-willed. She's going to do whatever she wants to do, and she's very career-driven, so that's why she is like pressing to be able to cover this story so hard. After they have a few quarrels, they decide to work together to help solve this mystery now. And I'm not gonna lie, it's very insta-lovey. Like the first time they lay eyes on each other, they immediately are thinking sexual thoughts. There's an immediate physical attraction, and even though they're working together, they have this banter, which the banter is good because they dislike each other, but at times the banter can also be sexual, you know? Like there's just always sexual innuendos in their banter as well, which I'm never a huge fan of. I just don't like it when things are too physical, too fast. I really like an emotional connection. So like the romance department is lacking for me a little bit, but I will say it is like the perfect read for what I need at this moment. I think when you've been reading for a long period of time, especially like right now because it is nighttime, you need something that's quick and easy, that doesn't require a lot of brain power, and that moves at a pace that can really keep you interested the whole time, because you're starting to get a little bit tired, okay? We're starting to get a little bit over it at this point, so this is doing it for me. If I try to pick up a fantasy right now, absolutely not. My brain could not handle it, so I'm not mad at it. I'm enjoying it. I also kind of knew that it was going to be fast-paced, very insta-lovey in a sense before even going into it, just because the Eden series also comes off that way, so I kind of expected it going into this one. But I will say, I think so far, I'm kind of liking this better than the Eden series. I feel like our character's banter is just so much better. I like that our main female character definitely can bicker back and forth with him and hold her own ground. And another thing that I like is that they are older. I think they're in their 30s, because at this point, like, I'm tired. I'm tired, you guys, of seeing teenagers getting at it, you know? Like, it doesn't feel right in my brain. So I'm glad they're a little bit older. But at the same time, like, why are these grown-ass adults falling in love so fast? I know, you're not reading for something realistic, but still, I want my characters to wait a little bit longer before they say I love you. And also, I'm talking about them saying I love you too fast, but it's not even happening in this book. I'm just rambling at this point, and I don't know why. So let's keep reading, because I do have 2 hours left and it's literally 9:20 at night, so I need to get reading, and luckily it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm gonna continue it there, and hopefully I will not fall asleep. Actually, let's speak it into existence. I will not fall asleep in the next 2 hours. I will finish up today strong. Good morning, everyone. It's the next day. I don't know if you believed in me or not, but last night I did end up actually finishing up Still King by Devney Perry, and I did read for the final 2 hours, so I'm glad I completed yesterday. But let's talk about this book. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought that I would. Like I told you guys earlier, there's like a murder mystery going on because they were a gang in the past, and there's like a lot more action than I thought would have been in this book. I thought it was mostly going to lean towards the romance, and we were kind of going to get a subplot of this murder mystery, but honestly it was a good blend of both the romance and the action. There was so much going on towards the end especially, but I really enjoyed this book. I think so far from what I could tell, I might end up liking this series better than the Eden series. However, the end of this book, the murder mystery thing is not solved, so I have a feeling it's going to continue on into the next book, and I know who the next book is going to be about, and I'm actually very excited for that story too, because this couple in general has just been very mysterious towards the end of this book. So I do want to continue the series really bad, but obviously I don't have the physical copy of the other books, and I'm trying to get rid of all of my physical TBR by the time the year ends, so I have no choice but to pick up a different book. Honestly though, if I had the second book in the series, I would 100% continue reading, because that's just how much fun it was for me. With that being said, is it an outstanding romance? No. Is she one of my favorite romance authors? No. When I have no clue what to read and I just want a fun, fast-paced book, I think her writing does the job. And this one for me, I think I'm going to give like a 3.75. It was so close to being a 4, but there were just so many cringy moments, and I feel like the romance does happen too fast in all of her books for me. I prefer a slow burn, but either way, I still had a great time and I would recommend it. So now I'm going to start our next book, and that actually is going to be The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. I'm very excited for this. As you all probably know, Kristin Hannah is a very popular historical fiction author. I love her writing. This is going to be the 4th book that I've read from her. I do think it might have the potential to make me cry, but honestly, I'm down for that today, so who knows. But her writing is so good and heartbreaking. They are very people-driven, so if you don't like those, you're not gonna like it. But honestly, I feel like most of the time, I don't love people-driven books that move at a slow pace, but there is just something about her writing that does it for me every single time. So I'd say even if you don't love people-driven books, maybe pick up one and give it a chance, because you just never know. I honestly did not think it was going to be my thing, but so far it is. It is. Only for her, really, though. Anyways, by the title and the cover, I have a feeling the backdrop for this book is going to be the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl, that kind of era. I don't know anything, though. I like to go into my books blind, so I did not read the back, but hey, we will figure it out together. So let's start the timer and get reading. Okay, so I have made it 50% of the way through The Four Winds. I am really enjoying this book. In this book, we are following Elsa. In the very beginning, it starts off as her kind of on the verge of being a spinster. She's like 25, and back in those days, if you weren't married by then, you were known as a spinster. But something happens, and she ends up actually having to marry a man that she barely knows named Rafe. And now we are seeing their life together. She moves in with his family. They live on a farm, and that is how they make their living. She has become part of this family. In the future, they have their own children, but then the Great Depression happens. We are seeing the Dust Bowl where they live at in Texas, how it is affecting their farm. They are literally withering away, having so many health issues. It's also taking a toll on the family because some of them want to leave Texas. Some of them are literally like bound to this land for some reason. They just don't want to leave it. It's all they've ever known. So they're battling with that too. And let me just say, it is tearing at my heartstrings. It's been sad. Where I'm at now, though, they have left Texas. So I thought, okay, things are looking up, right? But now there are new challenges that come along with this. You have the road trip for a little while and the dangers of traveling alone with children. You also have now them in California and no one wanting to take them in for work and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be challenging because one thing about Kristin Hannah, she puts her characters through it. And our girl Elsa is not safe. She's going to be going through it. I am loving this story so much. The writing is just beautiful. You can already tell that it's a story about how much a mother is willing to do for her children. And I love Elsa's character so far. I think she is definitely a strong-willed character. And I just want this book to wrap up with a happy ending so bad. So I'm going to keep reading and I will update you guys once I'm done. But for now, I still have 4 hours and 53 minutes left. So we're making good time. Hello everyone, we have Dash just chilling out over here, but anyways, I finished reading The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. This book was so good. It's gonna definitely be another one of my favorites. I think still my favorite is The Nightingale and then this book. This one was just amazing. The story definitely goes in a different direction than I originally thought. I thought maybe we were gonna be stuck on this farm during the Great Depression for the entirety of the book, but it really does change up. At some point, the farm isn't working out, so the family does decide to move to California, but their journey to California and all this other stuff has just been a huge struggle. There are so many lessons in this book. It's a story about grief. It's also about finding your voice, a mother-daughter relationship, and the struggles that they go through. But in the end, it was so beautiful. I did end up tearing up a little bit at one part, but luckily no full tears were shed. It was still really sad though. But it wasn't like the most heartbreaking thing, you know? Like in Nightingale, I fully bawled, but in this one, it was just minor. I don't know if anyone cares about the tear scale in my opinion, but anyways, this one is definitely a 5-star read. It's definitely up there for me. I enjoyed it so much that I feel like I read through it so freaking quick, and I'm just happy that I picked it up. It was so good. So good. So now I only have an hour and 55 minutes left on the timer, and I decided why not pick up another book from the TBR at the beginning of this video and that I am partially already through, and that is Daisy Haites The Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. If you don't know, the Magnolia Park series, the first book is about Magnolia and BJ, the second is about Daisy and Kristin, the third you go back to Magnolia and BJ, and then this is the fourth book in the series and we're back with Daisy and Kristin. In Magnolia Parks, the couple in there, they are like socialites, models. It's all based in London, so that's why people say it gives Gossip Girl but in London vibes. And then in this one, Daisy is part of a mob family and Kristin starts working with her brother, and they just have also a toxic relationship, but in my opinion it's definitely not as bad as BJ and Magnolia. That's just my opinion though. I think I've already said it in this video, but I am definitely a Kristin and Daisy girl. So I'm actually going to get ready for bed because I do have the audiobook for this, so I'm going to get ready for bed, listen to the audiobook while I do my whole nighttime routine, lay in bed and read and finish this up, and then probably talk to you guys in the morning. Yeah, let's also hope that again tonight I don't fall asleep. Good morning, everyone. I did it last night. I stayed up and I finished our 24-hour readathon. Obviously, I didn't get to finish the book in 2 hours, but I did pick up Daisy Hates the Great Undoing again. I made it pretty far in. I got to page 199. I will say I am liking this story so much better. I understand why people love it. The writing is beautiful. She has so many great quotes in there. I still stand that Daisy and Kristin are way better. I really thought about this, and it's definitely because there is a certain trope in the Magnolia books that I just can't get behind. I know these two aren't perfect as well, but I do just prefer them as characters. The story is frustrating. It's about two people that you just know love each other and need to be together, but for some reason they just don't. They keep fighting it and do a bunch of toxic stuff. They use other people to make each other jealous, everything like that. So it does get quite frustrating at points, but I'm still rooting for them, which honestly I can say I was not really rooting for Magnolia and BJ. I wanted Magnolia to drop BJ so bad. Definitely an unpopular opinion because I feel like everyone loves them. Anyways, that is this one. Now let's do a quick wrap up of all the books that I read throughout this. There's actually a lot, but to be fair, I was already in the middle of most of these. So the first one is Home Before Dark. I was already 50% of the way through it. I really enjoyed this story. I think it was very interesting through most of it, and I don't know why, but it just really kept my attention. So I'm giving this one a 4-star. The plot twist was a little underwhelming, but still I thought it was a good read and it's perfect for the season. Then I was like honestly 80% of the way through Foxglove. I enjoyed the story. The ending was so good. It made me super excited for the third book. I did guess what was going to happen in the end. It kind of drops little hints about it throughout the entire book, and I guessed it super early on, but still, now I'm excited to see where the story goes because I was just waiting for that big reveal. But this one was still really good. I gave it a 4 stars. I just love a Victorian era mystery slash thriller with a little bit of fantasy in there. So good. Then I read Survive the Night. This one is another good thriller. I wasn't expecting it to be so good, but I would say it's a 4-star for me. The plot twists were really good, and I really just enjoyed how anxious it made me feel knowing that she was in the car with a potential serial killer. So yeah, but the end was good. You won't expect what happens, I'm telling you. Check this out, another 4-star read. And then I picked up One Dark Window. A lot of you guys are actually enjoying it the further along that you get in our book club. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like my mind might have just been elsewhere while I was reading it. I think I was confused at first and I just couldn't get it out of my head, but I do think I'm gonna restart this book and just start from scratch, try to figure it out because a lot of people love it and I want to love it too. So yeah, definitely gonna give it another shot, but I did get pretty far. I got to page 252 and honestly I don't even remember what happened. Then I read Still King by Devney Perry. This was very good, especially because my expectations were not that high. This one is like a 3.75 just because the romance was a little lusty, it moved a little too fast, but I did like both of our characters, especially our female main character. She is just so strong-willed, and I like the fact that there's a mystery going on. I always love a small town romance as well, so that is great, and I'm excited to continue on with this series. And then I read The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. This is a 5-star read. This one was so good. I don't know what it is, but there's something about Kristin Hannah's writing that just gets me every time, and I really, for some reason, like the time period that this one took place. The whole Dust Bowl thing was very interesting to me, and I think a reason why her books really hit hard is because it's real life events that happened, and you learn about, you know, the Great Depression and stuff in school, but seeing it from, even though it's fake, seeing it from like someone's perspective who personally lived through it, it makes it more emotional because in school when you're learning about it you really just get the basis and they tell you how it affected people, but actually seeing a full story, it hits hard because you know that real life people did go through stuff like this. So that's why I just love her writing. Whenever you want to feel something, pick her books up. So good. 5 stars. And then of course I can't rate this, but I feel like it's gonna be a high 4 hopefully or something, as long as it keeps going in the direction it's going. So those are all the books that I read in a 24-hour period. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions if you read any of these books. I hope you all have a great reading week and just a great week in general, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!